Hello, you big, beautiful world. Welcome to Brothers of Many Words podcast. I'm your host, RP.
The co-host King Mackey.
Special guest Christopher Wilkins.
Outstanding, outstanding. How's everybody doing this evening?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Loving life.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
We are down one host tonight. He's a little bit busy this evening, but we still gonna push on and get the word out there and have this beautiful podcast tonight for everyone.
Yes, sir.
We enjoy being here. Everybody's had a good week so far.
It's been great.
Oh, yes.
It's been great. Me and Chris just talking about our daughters. Before we got on the podcast, just their mental willpower, physical willpower. That connection with that father. That father figure it's beyond important.
Absolutely, absolutely.
100%.
I agree with that 100%. 100%. Before we get started here this evening, a little bit of words of positivity and inspiration. And this is titled Integrity is not to be confused with reputation. So, the circumstances amid which you live determine your reputation. The truth you believe determines your character. Reputation is what you are supposed to be. Character is what you are.
Right.
Reputation is the photograph. Character is the face. Reputation comes over one from without. Character grows up from within. Reputation is what you have when you come to a new community. Character is what you have when you go away. Your reputation is made in a moment. Your character is built in a lifetime. Your reputation is learned in an hour. Your character does not come to light for a year. Reputation grows like a mushroom. Character lasts like an eternity. Reputation makes you rich or makes you poor. Character makes you happy or makes you miserable. Reputation is what men say about you on your tombstone. Character is what the angels say about you before the throne of God. I thought that was very powerful.
I like that, bro. I like that. I like that.
Good. Text that to me.
Yes, I will. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right on.
All right, tonight's podcast on Tuesdays is open mic night. And what we do on this podcast, we pick 5 random topics. Each person will spend a few minutes on it, give their suggestion or speak on it, so to speak, and then we'll spend a few minutes discussing it, and then we'll go through each 5, and then at the end we'll have an open discussion on brief discussion on what we've covered here this evening. So, is everybody ready for the first question?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Now I know I said that with 5 random questions, I'm gonna pick them from the board, but this one I couldn't write. It was too big to fit on the paper, so I'm just gonna say this one right off the bat.
Okay.
Okay, first question. Emotional isolation inside the marriage. A man can be living with his wife, raising children, sharing a bed, yet feel completely alone. Question. If you feel emotionally isolated with your partner, how do you express it? And if not, what do you do to prevent it? And so, Chris, you start it off.
I think the most important thing is, for one, you have to have a foundation in marriage. And when you guys get married, it's really important to be, as the Bible says, do not be unequally yoked. And I think that's a very important thing when you guys decide to get married. If you're not on that level together and be able to grow spiritually together and not apart, you have to have that foundation when you guys first get married. And then through marriage, I mean, the base, you have to have communication. And as a man, your job is to be steadfast and provide and protect for your home. That doesn't mean you dominate the wife. It doesn't mean you are the number one and you're in control. But your job is to protect and to provide for your family. It doesn't mean your wife can't make money and also provide. But in my opinion, that's your duty as a man. When that is fulfilled, that provides the wife the safety and security she needs to be in her femininity and be able to provide what she needs to the home, same as you do, on equal terms. And the biggest thing with that is to provide communication, but the wife is so important that she needs to be your emotional anchor point, and your wife doesn't provide the ability for you to open up to her without her judging you as a man, then the man's going to shut down, communication doesn't happen, and then you guys slowly grow apart in marriage. So the biggest takeaway in that is that you need to communicate with your wife, and you need to be the man and provide for her so she has that ability to provide that to you.
That's very good points. I like it. I like it. Man, so do I feel emotionally isolated in my relationship? No. And, one key point that Chris made was communication. I do my best to keep my wife involved in everything that I do. I don't want her to ever feel left out. So when I communicate with her, bro, we have so much we have to talk about in a particular part of the day. It just never gets to that point. Do you know what I mean? And, we learn to make great out of everything we deal with. You know what I mean? So it's always those laughing moments, where we can sit back and look at a situation and just laugh about it. And so I think that prevents that isolation when you have open communication like that. You know what I mean? And so, because, there's always something to talk and speak about, and then you can make that format of what you guys are communicating about, fun and exciting for you guys. So, but yeah, I think communication is key when it comes to that. I do.
Yeah.
To actually answer the question, I don't think I did. If I personally feel emotionally isolated, there was a point when I did. And that wasn't because of my wife. That was my fault, because I actually didn't communicate with her.
Right.
And when I finally learned that I needed to, to speak with her about certain things to be able to open up to her, then I no longer felt that way.
Right.
And when she provided that support back to me, that was give me the ability to grow as a man. So, like personally, in my life story, when I started my business 4 years ago, as a man and as a husband and a father, I wouldn't be able to start that business if my wife wasn't my wife. She was the reason I was able to do that, because she gave me the emotional support that gave me the courage and the bravery to make that risk for our family.
Yes, sir.
Very good. I agree with both of you gentlemen with the communication aspect of this. It is very important. As a man, we can tend to be stone, and what I mean by that, not wanting to share our feelings, and because it's not a representation of a strong man, and that is just not true. I've had to learn that in order for part of that relationship to be successful, is that I have to be open in that regard. And it wasn't always easy. I was kept all those feelings locked up inside. I didn't want to share because I was scared. Don't want to get hurt, and and sometimes there is that feeling where you may feel silly or not like a man because you are being vulnerable in that way. However, my beautiful wife is absolutely she's the cool breeze to my flame. There's no doubt about it. And so, being able to come to her and talk to her, when I do have that fire and it is hot, and she'll say something, and it's just what I needed to hear.
Right.
It's just what I needed to hear. And so, if you are in a relationship, you have to be able to do that in order for it to have success. Otherwise, there will be turmoil, and unnecessarily, without being able to express yourself between one another.
Right. Yeah. I feel y'all on that. And you hit it deeper, Robert. Robert went deeper when he mentioned the emotions. You can communicate, But if you don't really get in depth with that communication,
Yes.
you're still leaving stuff on the table. So I really agree with you on
Sure.
that. I do, and I'm with you on that. Like you know, my wife's like, your lover, your homie, your best friend, my psychiatrist. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everything I need, bro. But I feel you on that. I feel you on that.
Well, it seems to me, you have to be
100%.
you have to be vulnerable in that way in order to be honest with yourself and
You do.
to be honest with your wife and your relationship. To so where you can take that breath and know that you got everything out and there's nothing left inside.
Right.
So you can have that
Right.
peace of mind, so to speak.
Right. Yep. Yep.
All right. Question number 2. What is it going to be? Let's see. Hey, just want to say too, all the questions that we all submitted were absolutely phenomenal. They
Yes.
were, look, I thought they were
Yes.
very insightful and very thoughtful. Very, very good stuff. Very good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Loved it all.
Okay, here we go. Question number 2. Brotherhood, accountability. What does real accountability look like between men? So the angles. Correction versus disrespect. Brotherhood without competition. Calling each other higher, not out. And so the action is each man asks for accountability in one area. Haru.
Man, that's a good one, bro. That's a good one.
Yes.
And I really believe it's based upon still every man. You cannot come to a brother the same way I might go to another brother. I really need to kind of understand that brother and who he is. And and you have to be honest. That's key. I have to be honest. And in my past and even now, some people say that I'm a little rough when I speak. But it's being honest. And it's my honesty of seeing what you're offering me. You know what I mean? And so, but when it comes to that, I have to be honest. And if it's something where, let me give you this. I heard a story about a pastor, right? And he went to a bookstore and he was reading a book, and he's a Christian pastor, right? And so somebody started talking about Egyptian stuff. But anyway, so he blasphemed the guy who brought a new concept to him. He said he blasphemed him for 3 years until he actually started reading into the book himself and learning things. So I guess my whole point to that is that I have to be open and honest and do what I feel led to do. Do you know what I mean? Or speak and say. And if that person takes it wrong at that time, then that just means they weren't ready for it. And then there is some growth that needs to come with that. Like the Bible says, where, you plant that seed, and it can be on rocky, it can be on good soil, it can be on bad soil. So it's going to be how that person perceives that. And so, and I have to give it to him the way that it was given to me. Okay.
And so,
Robert, would you mind repeating that question for me one more time? Maybe?
yes. Okay. So it's brotherhood and accountability. What does real accountability look like between men? And so the angles are correction versus disrespect, brotherhood without competition, calling each other higher, not out. And the action is each man asks for accountability in one area.
Do you want me to go ahead and go?
Sure, go ahead.
So when it comes to brotherhood and accountability to another person, I take that very seriously. Me personally, in my life, I've been, stabbed in the back many times. And that has, it has created a problem of trust before. And since then, I've conquered that, and I no longer have that fear of trusting people, but I still take it seriously and cautiously when I decide to bring another man into my life. Because if I do that, and we are going to be accountable to each other, then he is going to be affecting my family at some point in my life. And there's going to be some time taken away from my family as well. And my job as a man is to protect my family first before I stretch my arms out and reach for another brother. But I think it's very important that you do have a brother that you can be accountable to. I just think you need to have this discernment and be able to judge that person appropriately before you decide that bring that brother into your circle. I do believe in having one, and I do believe that circle needs to be small.
Right.
Sure. But 100%, when it comes to accountability, if that brother is my true brother, I want him to let me know when I'm doing wrong, regardless of what it is. That doesn't mean that he comes to me in a negative way or an antagonistic way, but he comes to me as a brother that loves me and sets me straight. As a man needs to talk to another man. Sometimes we do need that.
Right.
And that's why it's very important that that man can be trusted when you open up to him and you guys both share accountability back and forth.
Right. Right. You know, this is what we're doing right here. To me, this is what brotherhood looks like. You know, there's absolutely a mutual level of respect that we have for one another. It's okay that we can, you know, call each other out, if you will, without the other taking it the wrong way, and understanding that it's from a place of love and it's just for the betterment of yourself and not anything other than that.
Right.
You know, there have, you know, I believe, well, sometimes that people do tend to take those things the wrong way. You know, instead of seeing the love that is applied to that, you know, they take it the other way. It's like you are calling them out, or maybe it's coming from a place of competition, and it's just not that way. And Chris, you know, you said it too about keeping your circle small. I am of the same mindset as well. You know, it is upon all of us to protect our inner peace, whatever that may be. You protect your sanctuary, and so you do vet people who want to come into your life, because it is important. Your inner peace is important, and it's okay to let people in as long as they are good and wholesome people. And so accountability, you know, the thing with accountability, for me, I hold myself to a good high standard. I hold myself accountable, so I expect the same for whoever I deal with on whatever level that may be. Now, that may seem harsh, however, that goes back to protecting my inner peace. Because if you are on something else than what I believe in, and it's probably not gonna work for the best. It's probably not gonna work for the best, you know. But right here, you know, with the start of this what we got going on right here, this is certainly accountability. No one is above anyone here. We all have the right and the opportunity, and we should hold each other to the fire. Period.
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question with that, because I know we got a little bit of time on this one, right?
Yes.
So just say that, you know, we're all hanging out, and there's a brother that we know that's hanging out with us. We know this brother's been married 15 years. Okay. We're at a bar just having a conversation and then, you know, eating some wings and drinking, whatever the case may be. And he starts to flirt with other women in the bar. You know, so I'll start with Robert. How would you come to that brother? You know, how would you bring that forth? And then I know you would have a problem with it. So what would you do in that position?
You know, so that conversation certainly, you know, would be one that would have to be addressed, you know, outside of that, you know, to find out, to get deep and to understand what if that person is willing to talk to me, you know, to talk to me about your home life or what's going on in there, what is making you want to do that, because I know your family, I know your children, you know, so what are we doing here? How are we supposed to go forward, you know, into, if we're around one another, that's going to be a very difficult situation. So as we just talked about, you know, I'm going to apply the pressure to that, to make them to try to draw out what's really going on inside of them, what's making them search in other areas outside of his marriage, that you feel you need to do that versus going home to your wife and talking to her about the problem and putting everything on the table and coming to a resolution or a conclusion or finding out what's going on instead of seeking outside sources for that.
Right. Okay, Chris, what's your thought?
If I was in that situation, that was my brother, and I saw him doing that. Honestly, I'm just gonna my honest response. I would walk up to him and probably put my hand on his back, pull him down and say, "I love you, brother." And I said, I need a word with you. Can you step to the side? And we'd go to the side, and I would ask him what's going on.
Right.
And I'd ask him straight up, I'm like, why are you flirting with these girls? You have a wife that loves you. Why are you doing this? So this is disrespectful to me because I'm your brother, and I'm with you here in this environment.
Right.
And you're disrespecting yourself as well, and your wife and your family.
Right.
So, and I would ask him why he's doing that. I mean, I would just call him out because my personality is I'm a bold person. For my brother, you'd know that. And hopefully he would have a good response. And if he told me he wanted to stay and continue, I would say I love him. And then I would say I'd have to relieve myself of this situation, and I would walk out. And I would go home.
Yeah.
I mean, he has to make his own choice. He's a man.
Right.
That's right.
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll answer that too. I would hope that I've built enough with that person that they would know not to do that in front of me. If they're drinking and they start to lose control a little bit, I'm like Chris. I'm going to step in between. I'm going to pull them to the side, and I'm just going to be raw with them. Because I want to have an honest relationship with you and with your family. And your wife as well. And I don't want to have to. And I've been in a situation like that where I had, homeboys will lie and say, "Hey, I'm over at Mackey's house," or "I'm doing this and doing that," and it's awkward because you go meet their family, you don't even have a conversation because you don't know what to say right or what to say wrong, Right. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna pull them to the side. I'm gonna speak direct to them, and I'm like Chris and Robert. If I had to, I'll walk away because I don't want to be part of that. I just don't want to be part of that.
True. Well, I'll add to that too. So, if it's not the answer that is good, I'm probably gonna barrel kick his ass through the wall. Then I'm gonna pick him up and I'll say, "Let's try this one more time." And then if it don't work, then I'm gonna leave.
I feel you on that.
No, look.
I feel you on that.
Yeah. That would be a very awkward situation, brother.
Right.
Okay, that was really good. Question number 3. Here we go. Good one. Do you believe in mental health? If so, what do you do to maintain your mental health and emotional struggles? So I'll start with that one. I do believe in mental health. There's spiritual health, there's psychological health, there's all things and many different facets that make up a human being, and all those things are important. Mental health for me, I keep that sharp by reading and staying positive and, being able to, as we, talked about earlier as far as relationships, being able to talk with my life, having that outlet to be able to express myself, openly and not to be judged harshly, whatever that opinion may be. Also too, the gym. I speak on this because the gym is absolutely it's like my second home. Right. That gym is where I can go. I can fight that war every day, and I enjoy it. I know I'm not going to win that thing because I can only lift so much iron, but I'm going to go in there and I'm going to give it my best damn shot. And when I get done with that, any of that aggression or that extra energy that I have is right there. Right. It's right there. I left it there, then I can go on about the part of my day. Right. I think mental health is important. It's certainly something that should not be neglected for anyone because it is important because it is a part of you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, man. 100%. Mental health is important. And hopefully one day if you come visit us at the lake, you can visit my gym.
All right.
Yeah,
I like that.
I did mention it when he did come down. I mentioned about going to work out at Central Fitness. So,
Hey, if you do that, we have to plan a workout 100%.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, y'all some big boys right there. They look, audience. You can't see them in these chairs, but don't let them fool you when they stand up or you see them in person.
Yeah, Mackey, we're not. You're pretty big too, man.
That's right. That's right.
But mental health, yes, I do believe in mental health, and I'm like, I think it's important to maintain that as well as possible. I just finished watching the Cat Williams series, and he was talking about mental health. He was like, you know what, you need to be beautiful to yourself. And so I look to do that. I get my kids in the mirror every day, and I make them face themselves and say, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're a genius, you're this, you're that. And they just smile at themselves, and then they jump down and they start their day. And I look to do the same thing. So, over time, people have told me that I was overconfident, but you have to be. You have to be, because there's so many people willing to tear you down. So if you don't even believe in yourself and the world don't, then you'll be in a bad position, So, and then to add on to Robert, the gym is necessary for me. I didn't do the gym for 13 years. I didn't work out. I ran the gym life for 35 years, and I just stopped because I needed to find another outlet for myself when it came to my mental health. And when I learned to start meditating, getting into an area, or when I started learning Tai Chi through meditation, it's now that the chaos can go around me, and I'm happy as can be. So, but I believe it's very important for us to be beautiful and wonderful to ourselves. No
Absolutely.
doubt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, mental health is very important, and I think to honestly be able to have that, you have to understand who you are
That's true.
first.
That is true.
And everyone is slightly different. Everyone's outlets are different too.
Right.
And but I think to be able to take care of yourself as a man and your mental health, you need to know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to do that, you have to have faith. Faith in yourself, right? And if you don't have that, you're not going to be able to build a foundation off anything. You'll have no pillars to stand on.
Right.
But beyond that, the reason why the gym is so important, because us as men, I can only speak about mental health as a man, that our primary hormone is testosterone. And hormones do matter a lot about mental health.
Right. That's true.
If your hormones are whacked as a man,
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be able to succeed in life. It's really important.
Right.
And our activities and our lifestyle has a huge factor on what determines our testosterone.
Right.
And as a man, what testosterone does, if you have it, it's a compounding effect like a snowball, right? But then if it drops, it's the compounding effect of the opposite way.
Right. Right.
And so if our T drops and we get depressed. And the reason why we get depressed is because testosterone, what it does is we need to, us as men have to complete a task. We have to achieve something. It doesn't matter how small or big that thing is. It could just be, mowing the lawn, getting up and going for a 10-minute walk after you eat. It could be a host of things, but you have to do things. And once you start doing things, that compounds into effect. Your testosterone goes up. Then you're out in the sunlight. You're doing things. You need the sunlight to get that vitamin D. And you need that to produce testosterone. And then that's going to escalate upon itself. And if you're going to the gym, now you're challenging yourself, right? You're challenging you. There's no one else there to challenge you. It's the iron. Iron always weighs the same. It's always going to be the same, consistent when you go to the gym. And if you're achieving and you're going there and you're working out and you're challenging yourself, that's going to stimulate testosterone as well. And then you're also going to feel good, all the endorphins that are being released. And then that's the biggest thing, is you need to be able to do something and achieve something, and that's going to be, in my opinion, the best thing for a man's mental health. Go ahead, Robert, man.
I agree with that. No, I agree with that. That was all great answers.
Somebody put in the chat. Somebody put in the chat and said, "Amen, preach it." So there you go. There you go.
Absolutely. All right. Beautiful.
And
beautiful.
also,
Beautiful.
can I add something else to that?
Sure. Sure.
When it comes to like family life, me personally, my wife stays at home. We're homeschooling our kids, so that's a huge job for my wife. And then I run a business, a gym, and I run the whole. It's a 24/7 gym. I run it by myself. I do have a little bit of help, but I primarily do everything by myself, and that requires a lot of mental focus, a lot of mental energy. I'm constantly being pulled in all different directions, right? From being a maintenance guy to being a janitor, scrubbing toilets, mopping the floors, to life coaching somebody, to sitting down, setting someone up for a program, talking about diet, supplements. You're all over the place, and then I have to go home and then try to switch gears and deal with that type of atmosphere, right?
Right.
And I think it's really important, and people may think this is selfish, but I don't think it is selfish, because sometimes for mental health, you do have to be selfish. But you have to understand how the perspective of, in order to be selfish as a man, you have to have your life together.
Sure.
So plan your day accordingly. Understand what you have to do so you can plan that time. And for me, when I get home from the gym, I need at least 45 minutes to an hour to decompress my brain, what I'm doing from this to there, and then I can go out and have time with my family.
Right.
That's super important, because, I can not do that and be in a hurry, rushing home. My brain never transitions, and then my daughter's talking to me, but my mind is over here, right? So I'm actually not giving her time.
Right.
So if I have 2 hours to spend with her and my focus is somewhere else, that's actually not time spent with her.
Right.
Or I can take 30, 45 minutes to an hour to myself, and then the time I have with her, I'm focused. I'm not worrying. I'm out on my phone. My brain's not talking about not thinking about business.
Right.
And that time's going to be much more valuable in quality.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. Facts. I feel you on
That's
that.
right.
I feel you on that.
That's a great point. That's a very great point. All right. Question number 4. Here we go. Let me post up my thing. All right. Okay. Here we go. Boyhood versus manhood. What requirement, responsibility, or moment truly separates a boy from a man? Is it age, experience, sacrifice, or something else? Haru.
Man, sex. No, I'm just kidding. The first time you get that, hey, you got a whole new walk, you got a whole new pep in your step and everything, And even to talk about that, even when I first did, my dad already knew. He said, "Boy, what'd you do?" So, but boyhood to manhood. For me, I would say that I've always been a pretty mature person, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, and saying I was a man at 3 or 4 years old, because that's not factual, But at the same time, is that I was big in protecting my mom, looking out for my brother, working. And let me say what brought that is my father. My father gave me these tools, and I watched his discipline, and so I look to cater to that. I look to be just like him, and so from that boyhood to manhood was just my maturity. Do you know what I mean? How I start to see things in this world, and then to become less selfish of myself. I know Chris mentioned about, and I'm with him on that. For his mental health, you do need to have a selfish time period where you can gather yourself to be able to offer yourself better to your family and your friends. But when it came down to me, again, it was just maturity and realizing that. And I give you an example. I had a child at 18 years old, and so I dropped out of college. I came back home. I got a CDL. My dad was a truck driver. My dad bought me my first car, and I started working, and I started to take care of my family. But at first, was it difficult? And I was still in that boyhood state, I would say, because I would go buy Jordans before I could pay my rent. But then you get that eviction notice on your door. You realize this is life, and now I need to enter into that manhood. And so, particularly my experience is my kids. helped me become a better man and brought me into that manhood. I was still that boy somewhat, throughout my life until my kids came into my life, and it actually grew me up. So again, I believe it was maturity that did that.
Yeah. To add to that, Chris has spoke on that everybody's different, and this is true. So, from boyhood to manhood, it seems it depends on what type of adversity that you had in your life. Sometimes that is at a young age, sometimes it's when you're a teenager, and sometimes that's when you're an adult. Because through adversity, you find out if you allow yourself what you're really made of. And so, from my personal experience, my real dad wasn't there when we were growing up, so just me, mom, and my sister. And so, man, I just felt like, seeing my mom work hard every single day. I can remember the first chance I got a newspaper route. I was probably like 7 or 8 years old. 9, 10 years old. I'm sitting in the back of this man's car, rolling those newspapers, getting ready. He's tossing them out the window, and all I could think about, was getting that money and giving it to my mom,
Right.
to help her out, to pay the bills. And as I progressed further on, she did get remarried, and so every job that I got, I tried to take some of that responsibility off of her. So when I got to be a teenager, from that point I kept working, so I would buy my own school clothes and things like that. So for me, when I reflect back on that, it was at an early age I understood, from watching my mom go through all those trials and tribulations of raising those kids, raising us, me and my sister. And then, you know, I went to the Marine Corps, so you sprinkle a little bit of that trash on the situation, and it's hey, you go up real quick because they tear you down and see what is inside of you, and then from there, it's just been a whole different mindset outside of that. So I think, depending on your life experiences and how you interpret those and how you let those influence your life, it's really subjected to that. I guess there's no certain age or time frame. It's what you
Right.
go through and how you let those things affect you to determine
Right.
whether you're ready to be a man or whether you still want to be a child, and or if you're ready to accept the responsibility
Right.
of being an adult and ready to go, because the responsibility and accountability is a big part of that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're right on that, man. And responsibility, for me, is the key word there. And um, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second.
Go ahead, brother. We got time.
Can you actually repeat that question?
Sure. Boyhood versus manhood. What requirement, responsibility, or moment truly separates a boy from a man? Is it age, experience, sacrifice, or something else?
To piggyback off what you said, talking about how it's different for everyone, depends on their experience as a child.
Right.
And for me personally, my dad kind of bailed on us at around 9 years old, and my mom had to take care of us. And there was three of us, and she was working for $5 an hour at a glue factory, taking care of us when he left. And since then, I was the middle child, but I was the oldest male, and I immediately took it upon myself that I thought I needed to protect my mom. That's what we do, And I still had my struggles growing up without a dad. And we did have a stepdad, but he wasn't really a father figure. We won't get into that, but as I grew up, the people I had to look up to were mostly blue-collar men at my church. And that's what I did. So as soon as I was able to work, that's what I was doing, because I thought that's what a man has to do. A man has to work.
Right.
So 10 years old, my first job was church started building onto we were building a new church, adding on, and it was a 60-foot brick wall. And my job was to mix the concrete, and I climbed up the scaffolding and poured that mud on the bricklayer's pad. Got paid $1 an hour for about 40, 50 hours a week. And I thought I was a man. I was right there working with all those guys, and that's what I look up to. And so that's what I did. I worked, and I continued to work and work and work. when I was around 17, just to get, I don't know, you might think this is funny, but I read this book. I think it was a popular video game, but I didn't grow up with TV. We didn't have TV in the house. We were Pentecostals. And I got a hold of this book called Halo. I don't know if you guys ever heard that video game, Halo, from Xbox.
Oh, yeah, the video game.
And anyways, it was a video game Halo. Well, in my world, that was a novel to me. I didn't know it was really a video game.
Right.
And I saw the novel and I read it. And the story, Master Chief was my hero when I was a kid. That was my father figure as a kid for quite a few years, man.
Right.
Off a child's book called Halo. And, but the purpose I'm getting at is Master Chief in that book, his primary goal since he was a kid, he trained at 6 years old to be a soldier, and he served humanity. And I'm 37 years old now. Throughout my life, I constantly chased, I got to be the strong guy, I got to be the tough guy, I got to be the big guy, alpha, look at me, pounding my chest, always being on defense mode, and what I've really realized is a man is, from boyhood to manhood, is a very simple thing. It's when you are responsible for someone else.
Yeah.
Because the only way you can be responsible for someone else is if you have your act together.
Right.
And if you're responsible for someone else, that means you're serving that other person.
Right.
So the true transition and evolution
Yes,
from boyhood to manhood is when you learn to be a servant.
I would agree with that.
Very good. Very good, gentlemen. Very good. Okay.
Yes.
Question number 5. Last one. That was really good. Okay. Do you have a fear of aging and losing relevance? If so, explain. Or if not, explain. I'll start with that one. So, I do not have a fear of aging. I do not have a fear of being relevant in the sense that I have to have I don't know. It's just I have a purpose that I found in my life, and so I found that here late on in my life. However, I'm motivated. I have the fire within me burns. There is no I'm not worried about being relevant. I have a path that I have, and I shoot for them stars every single day. Right. Aging, hey, that comes with the territory. That comes with the territory. I know there are things out there that you can do, that people do with plastic surgery and the different type of injections and hormones and that things, but however, it is inevitable. I accept those things and I move on. That's why I keep myself in the gym. I try to eat healthy, try to keep my mindset positive, and try to keep love in that heart to enhance that life force so I can keep pushing. I don't, I've never thought about it in those terms. As far as I'm concerned, I am a healthy 25-year-old male. I have that energy, that drive, and that's what keeps me going.
Right on.
Yeah. You go ahead, Chris.
Okay. I'm not really afraid of aging at all. When I was younger, I'm still a young man. I'm only 37. I'm younger than both of you guys. But when I was younger,
I know. Hey, why you gotta do that?
but obviously, when I was younger than I am now, that wasn't on my mind, and now I have thought about that, and I really am not afraid of age at all, and actually something I look forward to. Now, I don't want it to come now, but I do look forward to that age because I know throughout the journey as I age, it's going to provide me more experience, and I'm going to be able to provide more to the people around me as I age, and that's why I'm looking forward to that. I'm not worried about dying. To me that's just a part of life, and so I'm looking forward to aging, and I know I got Grace coming in now, but it's something I'm looking forward to. I'm not afraid of it all. But I do think it's very important that we need to change our mindset that 40 years old is old.
Right.
Or 50 years old is, oh, I'm so old. And 60 years old, I can't do anything, you know, and then you go to a home. And it's real. I mean, I own a gym. I'm not a super health freak, but I think it's super important to maintain strength, to exercise and to work out, and take care of yourself so you can age and you can be around and be able to help people. Because what's the point of having all that experience, wisdom, and knowledge you have acquired over the years, and you're stuck in a chair with a hunched over back because you never took care of yourself?
Right.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I've seen people start at 75 years old, start working out, you know, and they've recovered. I mean, anyone can do. The human body is magically built, and you just have to have the willpower to do it.
Right. Yeah. For me, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this being great. I'm looking forward to grandkids. I am looking forward to it. So no, I'm not worried by any means. And Robert said it. Purpose. You know, I feel like when you have purpose, that aging is not even relevant. Do you know what I mean? Because you're focused on that purpose. You know, and so I feel like that's the only thing that's going to matter. As long as you have purpose, nothing else will matter. You know, you'll keep being driven by that purpose.
That's right.
Super important, because that's super important for the other question we had earlier about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. You know, listen. So all my parents have passed, and I watched them in their last days. You know, as they passed away, and so. That is absolutely my motivation. So when I'm tired and I do not want to go to that gym, I'm going to that gym. You know, when I don't want to get up and go run that mile, I'm going to go run that mile. Right. You know, because if that will prevent having one day from what I've seen to have to experience that, I'm going to do those things. I'm going to do those things every single day. And listen, more times than not, I do not want to go, but I go anyway. Because I understand the value in all of those things and what it can provide for me, you know, down the road. And age is just a number. It's really about, as far as I'm concerned, the condition of your body and the condition of your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And I'm a firm believer. I think me and Chris talked about this one day, but I'm a firm believer. Your body is a reflection of the mind. Sure. You know, and I mean, just how Robert put it. I mean, it really is. I mean, to me, it even states your mental status and overall. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because of what you have to put yourself through. You know, like we mentioned already, discipline is huge for us. Accountability and responsibility. You know what I mean? Those seem to be three main key factors of these conversations. And you know, we have people kind of going in the chat and they're talking about accountability, and and I even had a conversation, or I asked a question in the chat for accountability when the person stated that kids don't have accountability these days. And so is it the parents' responsibility to teach accountability?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know,
I mean, the kids are our kids are a reflection of us.
Right.
It actually makes me really mad with our society today. When it comes down to, I hate hearing these old men and women are like, all these kids are so blah blah, they're so lazy, they don't want to do anything, they have no motivation, blah blah blah. Well, who gave them the cell phone at 10 years old? Who gave them the iPad at 5 years old?
Right.
Okay, you're complaining about your kids being lazy. Well, who taught them to do that? Who taught them to feel entitled? That's what iPads do, because it gives them instant gratification immediately. And that's why it disrupts their mental health as a kid. And we want to blame our kids. No, it's you. You're the one raising them.
Right.
Get off your phone. Pay attention to your kid. Spend time. Get on your kid's level. Get down on your knees. Right. Have a conversation with your kid.
Yes.
Teach your kid.
Yes.
You know, have patience with your kid. Give your kid attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm sorry.
That's huge.
No,
I mean,
I agree with you.
it's our society. I'm tired of it.
No, I agree with you 100%, Chris. It's you have to be involved in your children's life. Some of our children, they're at the age to where they do have the phones, but I'm, I'm in there with those phones. So
I think my headphones went out. Can you guys still hear me?
You
yes,
sure hear you.
Okay, cool.
so it's like there is no just scrolling on the phone and doing whatever you want. There has to be a path of what you want to do. If you don't know what you want to do, then you can't do that thing. And so I do ask questions. I try to be involved in their lives and be down in the trenches with them because they don't have to travel this path alone. That's what we're here for, to be there to guide them through this life until they get to the age where they're out there on their own. And I think that is important. Everything that you just said.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I agree, brothers. I agree.
100%.
Kings, that was 5 questions. Hey, the discussion on all of those were beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. There's an echo.
Yeah, I hear that too. So with that, do we need to? Is there any more? Anybody like to say anything? Add any more to the questions?
Why don't you do a bonus one? Let's go a sixth question. Let's do a sixth question.
Those 6 questions. Let's see what kind of trickery I can pull out of his nose. All right, here we go. Are you the same person when you're in the spotlight as when you're alone?
Wow.
Well, let's go first.
So, I'll start with that one. I'll take that
I'll
one.
go first. That's a great question. I would have to say that I'm not. And let me explain this. I'm hard on myself when I'm by myself, when I'm isolated. And so, I'm just on myself. You know what I'm saying? So when I get in front of people, I guess it's like this. I sharpen my sword, so when I get in front of people, if I need to use it, it's available. And I don't mean that in a violent way. And what I mean by that is just that I shake myself off. I polish my shoes. I get myself ready to stand in the forefront because I am the head of my legacy. You see what I'm saying? And so I put myself in a higher esteem, and I drive that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I am a little different when I am at home or by myself than I am in the forefront. But I think that's okay for me because it allows me to be a better man. It does.
Yeah, right on, man. I guess for me, I'm definitely not the same person in the spotlight versus when I'm by myself. I run a business. I have to speak with many different types of people about all kinds of different things, and my character is the same on a base level. Who I am as a person, that never changes. My core principles and beliefs, no matter who I am around or speaking with, that remains the same. Going back, I think with the opening statement you were talking about, reputation was mentioned many times in your opening quote. And reputation, that's going to go on many levels because that's going to be different on with every person you interact with. And then when you're also representing different entities, everyone's going to perceive you looking differently no matter what. Especially with our digital world and media, it's people's even with us starting this podcast and you guys putting this out. People can take this videos and they can make little 3-second snippets and totally ruin your reputation. And then if you decide, that can have a snowball effect. If you're a person that gets online people start commenting about you, and then you're responding to every person, and then that can escalate. So, but yes, and then when I come home, I can't give the energy I do at work to my wife, and that wouldn't be fair to her as a man. So I do have to split that up and box those up. I do have a character, but I do have many hats, and many hats mean different identities.
So
and I think if you are a man and you are achieving things and you are doing things in your life, you are going to have to learn how to wear many hats, especially if you're going to be a husband and a father, a friend, a brother. And there's a great book, and I think everyone should learn to read this. And in fact, I should probably read it again. And it's called "You Heard This." You heard this. They said that. And it's a personality book, and I think that's a really good book to read. And it kind of helps you learn how you are as a person, and it splits things up into 4 different personalities. And then you learn about your color, and then how that color, and how to talk to other people. I think that's really important because learning how to communicate better as a human. I don't think there's any downfalls to that.
Right. That's right.
And that plays a big role in reputation. Because you got to have one person. If you don't know how to speak to that person in a certain way, that person's not going to listen to you.
That's right. You mentioned wearing many hats, and that is something that I definitely do. I have a big family, and so I'm spread all over, and so, but I'm included in that as well. So, for me, there is no choice, and I love this because I have to be myself 100% of the time. There's 6 different people, as I said, including myself, that require a piece of me. So, in order for me to do that, I need to be honest with myself in all facets of my life, and that's with the people that I'm talking to and the people that I'm dealing with. There is no hiding for me, because as I mentioned before, that vulnerability that comes with that. I want my children and everybody else to see that, because I think in seeing that, that's what makes you genuine. You have nothing to hide. You're putting it all out there. Of course, now you take a chance on, getting some hurt that comes along with that, but that is okay. I'm my skin is thick enough to where I can take those things. But I am the same as I am in the dark. I am in the light. I am the same person.
Yeah. So I want to bring to attention, we have somebody in the chat, and they stated that when I'm in public or in uniform, it's night and day. So they basically, they held to a higher standard of myself in the spotlight, but shut myself off at home. So that I just wanted to read that through the chat.
Yeah.
What do they mean by shut themselves off at home?
So this is the next comment they made. They said, but on the other hand, you need to remember that integrity is the only bank that you can take out, but never put it back in. So there is a fine line that you have to walk at the same time in both situations.
I think it comes down to, if I understand what they're saying right, is character. And if you're, like I said, my character doesn't change, and that includes my integrity as a man, no matter what role I'm playing at the time.
Right.
That's right.
I still always have my integrity, and the character never changes.
Right.
That's right.
Right. Yes.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Love this.
That's something you have to develop.
What'd you say, Chris?
I said that's something that you have to develop as a man.
Absolutely. As it read in the opening quote, it takes a lifetime. It's an everyday deposited into that bank. To break from that, then you break from your integrity. And why do that to yourself unnecessarily? You know, it's a hard path to walk, but I encourage it.
Yes, sir.
King, excuse me. Very good, King. Beautiful, brother. This is beautiful.
Yeah. And hey, I just want to say something too. We encourage brothers to come into the chat and ask questions, communicate with us. We're encouraging that. You know, we want to be able to leave our feelings at the door. And we want to be encouraged, hold, and love brothers as we want to be held and loved the same way. All right, so hey, brothers, I love you guys. I love our audience, and I appreciate you guys. Through this helps make me a better man. Every day of the week. So I appreciate y'all.
All right, Haru, you got a spotlight tonight?
I got spotlight tonight, brothers. All right, so our spotlight tonight is Charles Richard Drew. He is known as the father of the modern blood bank. So Dr. Charles Drew revolutionized how blood is stored and transported, saving millions of lives worldwide. So what he invented and developed: perfectly large-scale blood plasma preservations, create a system for separating plasma from the whole blood, organized the first large blood banks during World War II, and directed the Blood for Britain program. His research made it possible to store blood longer, ship plasma overseas, and create transfusion systems we still use today. All right. This is kind of the irony of it. Despite building the modern blood bank system, he resigned from the American Red Cross when they adopted policies to segregate blood by race. Something he scientifically opposed because blood has no racial difference. So our spotlight tonight is Charles Richard Drew, the father of the modern blood bank. Thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, just as Ruth said and spoken before, we encourage the likes, the thoughts, the suggestions, and the questions. Anything you have, we look forward to hearing from you. On Sundays, we have our book club, Brothers of Many Words Book Club. This Sunday we'll be going over introductions to African civilizations. Same time, 9:15. Please, if you got time, join us. Check us out. Other than that, gentlemen, it's been beautiful. Until Sunday.
Love you.
All right, love you, brothers.
Love y'all too.